Darrell Wade is a remarkable man. I first met him in the 1990s and I could see he had a real talent for developing adventure travel, and his company Intrepid was growing rapidly. In the 20 years that have gone by, Intrepid has become the largest adventure-based travel company in the world. Now normally when you do a thing like that, you say, give me the cash. But that's not what Darrell and his partner Jeff Manchester are doing. They've merged with the German group Tui, which had an adventure travel business which was not going all that well. But now that business is booming, and Darrell and his partner have 40% of the combined operation, and the Germans 60%. But the Germans give management rights to Intrepid. And Darrell doesn't plan to sell. His plan is to float the company in 2 or 3 years, where both the Germans and himself will step back. This is a remarkable story of someone who became a world leader in a particular niche product. And he wants to see it right through, where they may become a listed company and really dominate that segment of the market. Darrell, you've become the biggest adventure travel group in the world. How did you do that? How did it happen?
Yeah, good question. It's not something we intended to set out. You know, we started 22 years ago, and it was just my partner and I, and he went off to Thailand to lead a few trips, and I stayed here and kind of answering a few calls and things like that. And we went into another country and then another country and acquired a company along the way, and all of a sudden here we are.
How did you stay with one partner in the business for 22 years? That must have been tough.
Yeah, people say that, although strange enough, we were friends for about 10 years before we became business partners, so I guess we knew the warts and all of each other before then, and so there's a good level of trust. You know, we're best friends and still are best friends, and so it actually hasn't been difficult at all.
Now, last February you did a deal with the Tui German travel group, but you didn't sell out, but gave them control. That was a strange deal to do. Why didn't you just take the cash?
Yeah, people say that. Maybe we should have. Yes. But no, we didn't sell out. It was a merger, and we've kept full management control. Obviously, from a financial control point of view, it's consolidated up into Germany. But they had a number of adventure travel companies, and they were kind of orphaned within the huge Tui Travel Group. And so we merged with those units to create a new business called Peak.
And what's it like reporting to the Germans?
Well, I report to a board. We've got an independent board, and so that's relatively straightforward. We have 4 board meetings a year, and otherwise it's business as usual. It's really
so they haven't changed the business.
No, there's a lot of reserve matters in terms of the shareholder agreements. There's no impact at all on.
How did you find managing their business though? You're now taking over a much larger business.
Yeah, strangely enough, it seems to be relatively easy. They've been quite constrained, a lot of these business units, for quite a long time, and so we're going and saying, hey guys, this is a growing industry, think about growth opportunities, what would you like to do? And they're saying, ooh, that's a different way of looking at things.
When you did the deal with Tui, did you take cash out?
We had some surplus cash in the business, so we were able to take some of that out. So there was a little bit of de-risking for us, but really it wasn't about the cash, it was really about the growth opportunity in the sector that is really exciting us.
So why are you so excited about adventure travel?
Well, let's put it this way. About 10 years ago, our turnover at Intrepid Travel was about 28 million. It grew in that 10 years to about 130 million. Now we reckon in the next 10 years, and under a peak auspice, we're around 400 million. Now we think we can continue to grow at 20-25% a year for a good few years yet. The industry is changing a lot. People are getting more interested in doing a different type of holiday. So it might be walking from hotel to hotel in Europe, or it might be cycling in Patagonia, or it might be going to Machu Picchu or Angkor Wat or whatever. But the people are really after a more in-depth holiday experience these days. And just every year we keep growing. So, you know, we don't see any reason why that would change.
The internet hasn't changed your business?
Yeah, look, the internet has. But that, not necessarily for better or worse. You've just got to say, well, okay, technology's changed, like various other things changes, and so you adapt to that. And so, you know, there'll be certain parts of the business that we go direct online. Obviously, in terms of an enabling technology for the way you run your business, the internet has changed everything. You know, our group leaders in Peru will now hook up all the information they need through the internet. telephone anyone. They don't get faxes anymore or anything like that. So from distribution, yeah, it's changed a little bit. From operations, it's changed completely.
And I know, of course, you operate around the world now, but how has the Australian dollar affected your business?
The Australian dollar actually is not great for us. In terms of an outbound business from the Australian market, of course it's good because more people are travelling. But in terms of having a high cost structure in Australia and also repatriating foreign earnings back into Australia, neither of those are good. So we do have different businesses around the world, so we're actually slowly changing cost base from the Australian base into those offshore centres.
So you're actually taking your administration offshore?
Absolutely, yeah. It's too expensive here. If you're selling a trip to a Canadian or an English person or whatever, they really don't care about the Australian dollar, and we've really got to get rid of some of that Australian dollar expense.
So how are you tackling that? What sort of things do you put offshore?
Well, one of the nice things about a growing company is that you don't have to tackle it through redundancies. You can tackle it through just transfer over time. And so we'll be looking at back office function. We look at it. A lot of our operational support area now is done within destination rather than back here in Australia. It's just a gradual thing to remove or reduce the reliance on the Australian office.
What sort of trends are you seeing in demand for the sort of tourism? What are the most popular areas to go to?
Look, trends are sometimes in the style of travel in terms of what people want to do when they get there, and sometimes it's trends in geographic spread. So over the last kind of 7 or 8 years, there's been an enormous trend into South America. It's become a lot more popular than it used to be. There's still a fantastic fascination in Australia particularly, but around the world with Vietnam, 25 years ago or whatever, there was a war there. Now it's one of the hottest travel destinations in the world. Of course, there's negative trends too. The Middle East is not exactly the place to be. Egypt was our number 5 destination this time last year, and now it's probably about our number 83rd or something like that, I would imagine. Look, there's positive and negative trends all the time, but overall, it's just getting more popular.
What about Australia? Do we get much business now, or is the dollar cutting us out?
Yeah, look, Australia's a problem. Inbound into Australia, not just our business, but all Australian tourism businesses are really suffering, and most businesses are about 20% down on this time last year, and it's purely the result of the dollar.
Yes. So you've done well actually to expand globally. Pretty smart thing to do, as it turned out.
Yeah, look, diversification's important. We've started our business in '89, and in '91 we were just one country, which was Thailand, and Thailand had a coup, and there was literally blood on the floor of the hotel where we were staying. And we thought, okay, we've got to not only get out of Thailand, although we're still there, we've got to go to as many different countries as we can to just balance that risk.
How do you organise? You started as basically a small travel company, and now you're the biggest in the world in terms of adventure travel. How do you manage that? That's a huge lifestyle change. The skills that you had right at the start are not necessarily those that are required now.
No, well, whether I've got those skills is yet to be determined, isn't it? Look, there is change, but on the other hand, you keep getting good people around you, and we've got great people in our HR area, got great people in IT and finance, and they're the ones that kind of keep those operational wheels on the business, if you like. It frees me up to look at new opportunities, new markets, new product categories, perhaps some mergers and acquisitions stuff. I don't work any harder now than I did 20 years ago, and I still get my 12 weeks holiday a year, so it's not all bad.
So you still take holidays?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As a consumer of your own product?
Yeah, totally. Look, it sounds a bit selfish, but that's one of the reasons you get in the business. I loved adventure travel, I still do, and so my excuse to my work colleagues is that I've got to get out there and sample the product, make sure we do a reasonable job.
Now the customer base, in terms of where are the customers coming from, and just in terms, first of all, of age groups, are they coming more from youth, more from older people, middle?
Remarkably across the field, and so it depends which particular segment, but like we've got one business in North America which only deals with North American clients over about 60 years old, taking them walking in Italy and France. So that's a particular segment. We've got another business that really targets the youth and student areas. But look, generally speaking, the market is incredibly broad. It's just people who want to get out there and touch a destination a little bit more than they have in the past. They don't necessarily want to sit on a cruise ship or in a resort. They want to actually get out there and do something. Doesn't mean hard work, just get out and have a bit of fun.
So really it's a sort of it's a reaction against the cruise ship and the big bus. And,
yeah, not so much a reaction against. I see it more as an extension. You know, people have done lots of travel now. They're more sophisticated, and they're just saying, okay, well, what's beyond the glass of the hotel? What's beyond that wall? You know, can I really? I'm going to this country. I actually want to meet some people. I want to understand a little bit about their culture. I want to, you know, taste their real food, not just the sanitized version of it in a hotel. So it's an inquiring kind of mind, I think, that we're catering for.
What about safety? It must be a big challenge.
Well, I think safety plays to our advantages. Most of what we do is in small groups of about 10 people, and so I think people think, well, gee, I'd love to do that, but gee, you know, it's either going to take me a lot of time or something might go wrong. I'll go with a company that's got the infrastructure, they've been there before, they know what works, what doesn't work, what's safe, what's not safe, etc. So I think that's kind of goes for us, really.
In 5 years' time, do you think you'll still be managing this business, or you've sold to the Germans?
Look, I hope I'm still managing this business. I'm loving it. I'll get out the day I stop having fun. We won't be selling out. We'll actually be probably doing a listing on the stock exchange. So that's been our plan for about 5 years now.
You plan to list, even though you've got a German equity?
Yeah, absolutely. They'll sell down a bit. We'll sell down a bit, and we'll list here in Australia. That's the plan.
Is that the plan? What's the time frame?
Well, we've got a lot of working through to do at the moment, but I think 2 to 3 years we'll probably see a listing. But how the market is at the moment, who knows, hey?
Thank you.